I never thought my life would turn into one of those late-night stories you hear on the radio. The kind where an ordinary guy finds out his wife isn't who she pretended to be. For 15 years, I lived what I thought was the American dream. A small house in the suburbs of Ohio. A steady job at a manufacturing plant. A daughter who adored me. And a wife who, at least in my eyes, was my whole world. Her name was Claire. She used to be the kind of woman who laughed too loudly at small jokes, who painted the kitchen walls 3 different shades of blue until she found the right one, and who kissed me every morning before I left for work, even if we had fought the night before. That was us. Imperfect, but solid. Or so I thought. The first sign came on a Tuesday. She said she had a late meeting. Claire worked in marketing at a mid-size firm downtown, and late meetings weren't unheard of. But when she came home at midnight, hair a little messy, perfume too strong, something didn't sit right. She claimed they had been preparing for a big presentation. I wanted to believe her. I told myself she was just tired. Still, when she slipped into bed that night, I smelled something faint but sharp on her clothes. Not her perfume. Cologne. A scent I didn't wear. The second sign came the following weekend. Claire had always been glued to her phone like everyone else, but now she wouldn't leave it unattended. Not even in the bathroom. If she got a text, she'd tilt the screen away from me. She laughed at messages I never saw. When I asked who it was, she gave vague answers. Work friends. Just Bridget. Nobody important. Nobody important doesn't make you smile like that. By the third sign, I stopped ignoring my gut. It was Friday night. I was in the garage, working on an old lawnmower that hadn't started in years. Claire had gone out with friends from the office. Around 11 p.m., I noticed something strange. Her car wasn't in the driveway. I looked out the window every half hour. Midnight. 1. Still no sign of her. At 2 a.m., headlights finally pulled in. I stayed in the dark, pretending to be asleep on the couch. Claire tiptoed through the door like a teenager sneaking past curfew. Shoes in her hand. Hair messy. Her lipstick smeared. She went straight to the bathroom, turned on the shower, and stayed inside for half an hour. The next morning, she acted normal. She made pancakes. Asked about my plans for the weekend. Like nothing had happened. But I had seen too much. Something inside me snapped. That was when I decided I wasn't going to be the clueless husband. I wasn't going to play dumb while she lived a double life. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. On Sunday afternoon, Claire went out to get groceries. She left her laptop open on the kitchen table. She never did that. I hesitated, then opened it. Emails. Not work emails. Personal ones. Dozens of messages from someone named D. Not me. Another D. My heart raced as I clicked one. Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you. Another, and next time, let's not waste time talking. Just come straight upstairs. And one more, you smell like heaven. I love when you wear that dress. The blood drained from my face. I scrolled further. Dates. Times. Locations. Hotel receipts forwarded to her personal email. Every message was proof. I closed the laptop, sat back, and stared at the kitchen walls she once painted 3 different shades of blue. All those years, all that loyalty, and she had thrown it away for someone else. When she came back with groceries, she smiled like nothing was wrong. She even kissed my cheek. I forced a smile, helped her carry the bags, and didn't say a word. That was the moment I made my choice. I wasn't going to confront her immediately. No screaming match. No begging. No pathetic, "Why would you do this to me?" Instead, I was going to watch. I was going to collect everything. Every message. Every lie. Every secret meeting. And when the time came, I'd hit her with the truth so hard she'd never recover. That night, as she slept beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. My daughter, Emily, was upstairs in her room, innocent and unaware of what her mother was doing. I thought about her future, about the example her mother was setting. And I thought about me, about the fool I'd been, thinking love was enough. I promised myself I would not be the fool anymore. The next week, I started paying attention to every detail. She claimed she was going to yoga. I followed her car once. She didn't go to yoga. She parked outside a cheap motel on the edge of town. She sat in her car for 10 minutes, then a black sedan pulled up. A man got out. Tall. Confident. Too young. He leaned in, kissed her like they'd been together for years. My stomach churned, but I didn't move. I stayed in my truck, far enough away not to be noticed. She followed him inside, and I knew. This wasn't a fling. This was deliberate. Planned. Regular. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. That image burned into my brain, and my wife walking into a motel room with another man. But even then, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. Proof she couldn't deny. Proof that would crush her in front of everyone she cared about. So I started documenting. I kept a small notebook hidden in my toolbox. Dates. Times. Places. I took photos when I could. Screenshots of her emails. Everything. Each page of that notebook was another nail in the coffin of our marriage. At home, I played the part of the husband. I mowed the lawn. I fixed the leaky faucet. I asked about her day. She acted normal, almost too normal. But every time she laughed at her phone, every time she came home late, I felt the fire grow inside me. And then, one night, she slipped. We were having dinner, just pasta and garlic bread, nothing special. She left her phone on the table when she went to grab a glass of water. It buzzed. A message lit up the screen. One word, tonight? I looked at it just long enough to burn it into my memory. When she came back, I acted like nothing happened. But inside, I was already planning my next move. I wasn't just going to catch her. I was going to destroy the life she thought she could build behind my back. And I was going to enjoy every second of it. The night I saw that message, tonight? Everything changed. I knew she was meeting him again. I didn't ask questions. I didn't argue. I simply waited. At 9 o'clock, she said the same line I'd heard too many times. Work meeting. Don't wait up. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her purse, and walked out the door. I followed. Her taillights cut through the darkness as I kept my truck 2 blocks behind. She drove out of town, past the gas stations, past the old mill, until she reached that same rundown motel. The neon sign flickered in the night. Vacancies. Always vacancies. I parked across the street, engine off, lights out. I watched as she pulled in. 10 minutes later, the black sedan arrived. The man stepped out. Same guy. Same smug posture. He wasn't just younger than me, he looked like he lived for this. Like sneaking around was his favorite sport. She ran to him. She didn't even look over her shoulder. She wrapped her arms around his neck like a high school girl seeing her prom date. Then they disappeared into room 12. I sat there. Watching. Waiting. My chest felt heavy, but my mind was sharp. I pulled out my phone, snapped photos, one after another. Time-stamped. Dated. No excuses. No way out. An hour passed. The motel curtain shifted once, just enough for me to see shadows moving inside. Silhouettes. Her laugh. His hand on her waist. The sound of muffled whispers. Then the unmistakable rhythm of betrayal. My grip on the steering wheel tightened. My jaw locked. But I didn't storm in. Not yet. I wanted her to think she was safe. I wanted her to believe her lies were still working. Because when I finally made my move, it wouldn't be a simple argument. It would be her downfall. At midnight, they finally emerged. She looked younger somehow, glowing in a way she hadn't around me in years. He whispered something in her ear, made her laugh, kissed her again, and drove off. She got back in her car and headed home. I didn't follow her this time. I already had what I needed. The next morning, I played my part. Made coffee. Asked about her night. Just meetings, she said, yawning. Long one? I asked. She nodded. Exhausting. You know how it is. I smiled. Yeah. I know exactly how it is. That night, after she went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table flipping through the photos I'd taken. One by one. Evidence stacked like a deck of cards. Shadows in the window. Her arms around him. Their cars parked side by side. Every detail burned into my brain. I knew what I had to do. But I wasn't rushing. No. This had to be done carefully. If she wanted to play games, I'd play to win. The following weekend, my brother came over. His name's Mark. He's always been the blunt one. The guy who tells you the truth even when you don't want to hear it. I showed him the photos. I expected sympathy. I got something else. Dev, she's been playing you for a fool. How long are you gonna let this go on? I'm not letting it go on. I'm building a case. Mark shook his head. You sound like a lawyer, not a husband. Exactly, I said. I'm done being the husband. Now I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. He stared at me for a moment, then smirked. Good. About damn time. That night, I confronted her. Not with shouting. Not with rage. With silence. She came home late again. Smelled of that same cologne. Tried to slide past me in the living room. I didn't move. I just sat there in the dark, waiting. When she finally noticed me, she froze. David? You scared me. Where were you? My voice was calm. Too calm. Work. Meetings. Same as always. I leaned forward, turned on the lamp, and slid the photos across the coffee table. Her face drained of color. She stared at the images like they were poison. Her lips trembled. I can explain. I cut her off. Don't insult me with lies. I know everything. The motel. The man. The emails. Every detail. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't flinch. David, please, it's not what it looks like. I laughed. Cold. Sharp. Not what it looks like. You were in his arms. In his bed. Tell me what part I'm not supposed to believe. She dropped to her knees, hands clasped like a prisoner begging a judge. It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. Which part? The first kiss? The second? Or the part where you kept going back for more? Her tears turned to anger. You don't understand. You so boring. You never take risks. You never. I slammed my fist on the table. Not hard enough to break it, but enough to shut her up. You think that excuses betraying your husband? Betraying your daughter? Sneaking around like some teenager? She went quiet. For the first time, she had no comeback. I leaned in close. My voice low. You wanted excitement. You wanted risk. Well, congratulations. You've got it. And when I'm finished, you won't just lose me. You'll lose everything. Her eyes widened. Fear. Real fear. Because she knew me. She knew I wasn't bluffing. I stood up, walked past her, and went upstairs. Left her kneeling there in silence. That night, I didn't sleep beside her. I stayed in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, planning my next move. The confrontation was over. The war had begun. From that moment forward, Claire wasn't my wife anymore. She was my target. And I was going to make sure she regretted every secret, every lie, every stolen night in that motel. The morning after the confrontation, the house felt colder. Not because of the weather. Because of the silence. Claire moved like a ghost. Careful steps. Careful looks. Careful lies. I brewed coffee. Black. No sugar. No cream. No small talk. She tried once. We can fix this. I didn't answer. I let the clock tick. I let the panic grow. I wanted her to feel what I felt at that motel. A steady burn under the skin. I drove Emily to school. The cafeteria smell. The chatter. Teenagers with headphones and backpacks and easy laughter. My daughter hugged me tighter than usual. You okay, Dad? I lied. I'm good. She studied my face. She knew something was off. Kids always do. I squeezed her shoulder. Focus on your test. I'll pick you up at 3. I watched her disappear through the double doors. The plan had to protect her first. No scenes at school. No public drama. Clean. Surgical. Precise. I started with names. The man from the motel wasn't a mystery anymore. I had a license plate. I had a face. A path. Derek Mason. Sales manager at a regional supply company. 31. Gym membership he bragged about. An apartment near the river. A habit of posting motivational grind quotes at 5 a.m. The kind of guy who lives for the mirror. Cute. He had a girlfriend. I found her, too. Open Instagram. Vacation photos. A dog with a Seattle Seahawks bandana. Her name was Tessa. She smiled with her whole face. She looked like the kind of woman who brings casserole to neighbors she barely knows. I saved everything. Not to post. Not yet. I wasn't a teenager with a grudge. I was a husband designing an exit. Claire's weak point was never love. It was image. The picture she sold to the world. Perfect wife. Driven marketer. Community volunteer. Sunday brunch. PDA smiles. If I broke the image, I broke her. But I needed to do it in a way she couldn't twist. No tantrums. No he's crazy. Facts. Dates. Times. Faces. And witnesses who couldn't look away. Step 1, a pressure. Not the screaming kind. The quiet kind. The kind you feel when you step on thin ice and hear it crack. Monday, I booked a counseling session. Not for us. For me. I asked the therapist one question: how do I stop making excuses for someone who chose to hurt me? She said, by choosing you. I left with a note in my phone: choose me. Choose Emily. Choose truth. Step 2, space. I opened a new bank account. 1 deposit. 1 transfer. Not dramatic. Just enough to breathe if the house caught fire. I copied mortgage papers. Saved tax returns. Took photos of the jewelry she claimed she never wears. The ones I bought on anniversaries that suddenly lived at the bottom of a drawer. Receipts matter when people start rewriting history. Step 3, work. Claire's firm had a reputation to protect. And a handbook. Most do. No relationships with clients. No conflicts of interest. No company time for personal activities. I checked her emails again. She wasn't just stepping out of our marriage. She was stepping out of policy. Using her work phone. Using her work calendar. Meetings at the same motel that shows up on expense reports as off-site strategy. Cute. I printed what I needed. Redacted personal stuff. Left only what mattered. Times. Attachments. Locations that matched those receipts. I didn't storm HR. Not yet. I wanted sequence. I wanted timing. I wanted finality. Meanwhile, Derek played boyfriend of the year in a parallel world. Gym selfies. Steak dinners. Monday night grind. He had a LinkedIn with a smile that never reached his eyes. He said things like, "I move the needle." He had a manager who loved charts. He had a competitor who hated him. I made one phone call. To a guy I used to coach in Little League. Now he runs logistics at a Midwest distributor. My voice was casual. "You know a Derek Mason?" A beat. Then a laugh. Everybody knows Derek. He battles hard, and not always clean. I kept it friendly. "If you ever needed documentation, we should talk." He paused. "What kind of documentation?" "The kind that makes compliance departments pay attention." "Email me," he said. No promises. That was enough. I didn't need a promise. I needed a door. Step 4, Psychology. A liar's favorite tool is control. Starve it. I stopped asking, "Where are you?" I stopped waiting up. I stopped reacting. She fed on reaction. Without it, she spiraled. 3 nights in a row, she worked late. 3 nights in a row, I didn't ask when she'd be home. On the 4th night, she rushed in at 11, breathless, ready to fight. "You not even going to ask?" I met her eyes. Calm. "I already know." That shook her. She tried a new angle. "So, what do you want?" I said it like a judge reading a sentence. Distance. Honesty. And a timeline. She swallowed. "Timeline for what?" "For the day you move out." Her mouth opened, then closed. The thin ice cracked. She could hear it, too. Step 5, the invitation. Not to a fight. To a stage. I picked a Saturday. Family barbecue day. Neighbors, yard chairs, kids playing tag, coolers filled with soda and cheap beer. A safe crowd. A watching crowd. Not a single person who liked drama. But once drama started, not a single person who would pretend it didn't happen. I sent a group text early in the week. Burgers at our place. Bring chips. Claire read it and blinked. "Since when do you host?" Since now, I said. We'll keep it simple. She nodded slowly. Her eyes were restless. She could feel pressure building, but she didn't know where the valve was. That was the point. Friday afternoon, I stopped by my brother's. Mark handed me a small envelope. You sure? I nodded. No yelling. No mess. Just truth. He clapped my shoulder. Make it count. Saturday morning, the sun came out early. Soft light on a neat lawn. The kind of day that looks honest. I cleaned the grill. Set folding tables. Put out paper plates, ketchup, mustard. Normal. Boring. Deliberate. I laid the envelope inside the top drawer of our buffet table, next to the napkins. Inside were the photos. The emails. A printed timeline. Nothing explosive. Nothing graphic. Just enough for anyone with eyes to assemble the picture. Derek's black sedan was part of the picture. He showed up at noon. Not in my yard. In my neighborhood. He parked 2 blocks down and waited. Claire's phone buzzed. She made a show of flipping burgers. She was nervous. Over-smiling. Over-helping. She told Mrs. Harris from next door how much she loved the community. She told Mr. Nguyen from across the street how busy work had been, big projects, late nights, you know how it is. Everyone nodded. Everyone likes a good story until it stops making sense. At 12:30, I turned down the music. Nothing dramatic. Just enough quiet for voices to carry. I raised my cup. Thanks for coming. A few cheers. A couple whistles. Suburban celebration. I kept my voice even. I want to say something quick. Claire stiffened. Her smile froze. She could feel the valve now. I wasn't looking at her. I was looking at Emily. She stood near the lemonade, laughing with her best friend, hair in a ponytail, eyes bright. My voice slowed. This house taught me something important this year. A pause. That trust breaks quietly. And then it falls all at once. Heads tilted. A few confused looks. Claire stepped closer. David, I held up a hand. 1 minute. I wasn't going to humiliate her with a speech. I wasn't going to turn a neighborhood barbecue into a courtroom. I was going to let the truth do the work. I walked to the buffet. Opened the top drawer. Took out the envelope. I placed it on the table with the plates, casual, mundane, in the open. If I have ever seemed distant, I said, it's because I learned more than I wanted to know. Another pause. The kind that makes a throat swallow. I won't be answering questions today. Not here. But if anyone needs context for anything you've heard, it's in this envelope. Claire moved fast then. She reached for it. I didn't stop her. She opened it. She saw her life in print. Her hand shook. She looked at me like she might pass out. I kept my voice low, only for her. Not a fight. A mirror. She swallowed hard. Please. Not like this. There is no other way, I said. You built 2 lives. You can't keep them both. Neighbors didn't rush the table. This wasn't a movie. Decent people don't pry. But they saw her face. They saw the paper. They saw the color drain. And decency has a memory. Derek texted again. I saw his car in the distance. He was impatient. He didn't like not being the center of attention. So I gave him some. I sent him a single message from a number he didn't know. If you want Claire, walk up the street. She's right here. He took the bait like a fish. He stepped out. He smoothed his shirt. He looked both ways like a kid crossing traffic. Then he walked toward my house. I didn't look at Claire. I looked at the gate. I wanted the timing right. I wanted her to watch cause and effect meet in the middle of our yard. He reached the sidewalk. He smiled like a man who thinks no rules apply to him. He lifted a hand in a casual wave. Claire whispered, "Oh God." I said nothing. I didn't need words. When he took his second step onto our lawn, Mark coughed. Loud enough to turn heads. He stood from a lawn chair at the edge of the yard. He didn't say a word. He just held up his phone. On the screen was a photo. Room 12. Claire. Derek. Time-stamped. Tuned to reality. The yard went quiet. Not shocked. Not scandalized. Just quiet the way truth quiets people. Derek stopped walking. His smile died. He didn't look at me. He looked at the envelope. He looked at Claire. She looked small. Smaller than I had ever seen her. For the first time, she understood, this wasn't about rage. This was about removal. Removal of lies. Removal of options. Removal of the story where she got to play the victim. I kept it clean. "Folks," I said, steady, even, neighborly, "burgers are ready inside. Help yourselves." Movement returned. Chairs scraped. People drifted toward the kitchen, polite, avoiding eye contact, whispering in the way good people whisper when they're trying not to make it worse. But it was already worse. And it was mine to finish. Derek breathed through his nose, jaw tight. "We should talk." I smiled like a man with all the time in the world. "We will. Monday. At your office. With your regional manager." His eyes flickered. "You don't want to." "I do," I said. Calm. Final. He looked at Claire for rescue. She had none to give. She clutched the envelope like a lifeline that burned. I turned away from both of them and tended the grill. The meat sizzled. The air smelled normal again. Smoke. Mustard. Cut grass. Derek left first. He didn't slam the gate. He didn't make a scene. He just walked back to the car that wasn't welcome anymore. Claire drifted inside. Not crying. Not talking. A ghost moving through a room full of living people. I plated burgers. I asked kids if they wanted pickles. I poured lemonade for Emily and her friend and cracked a joke that made them giggle, because my daughter wouldn't carry this weight today. When the last neighbor left and the sun fell behind the roofs, the house was quiet again. Claire stood at the sink, hands on the counter, shoulders shaking, but no sound. I stepped in, took the envelope back, and slid it into my coat. "Tomorrow morning," I said, calm and simple, "you going to pack a bag. You'll stay at your sister's. I'll handle the house this week. I'll handle Emily's schedule. You'll handle HR." She looked at me like I'd spoken another language. "HR? The company handbook you ignored," I said. "Conflict of interest. Work phone. Off-site meetings." Her eyes closed. A slow exhale. "Please." I tilted my head. "This is me being kind." She swallowed. "And Derek?" I nodded once. "Monday." I didn't threaten. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. The plan was set. The lever was pulled. And gravity does what it always does. It finishes the fall. Monday begins before sunrise. Coffee. Jacket. Folder. The house is quiet except for the clock in the hallway and Emily's soft breathing upstairs. Claire stands by the door with a small suitcase. No makeup. No performance. Just a woman who has run out of words. I keep it simple. You'll call HR at 9. You'll tell the truth. You'll ask for leave. You'll cooperate fully. She nods, eyes lowered. And you won't message him, I add. Not today. Another nod. I open the door. The cold hits us both. Good luck, I say. She whispers, I'm sorry. I don't answer. Sorry is a currency that doesn't spend here anymore. 9 a.m. sharp, I park outside Derek's office. Glass building. Shiny lobby. Motivational posters about integrity and winning together. I check in at the front desk. Calm. Polite. Meeting with regional. The receptionist smiles because she's trained to. Right this way. The conference room is all chrome and light. Regional manager. Compliance officer. HR. Everyone's posture says the same thing, let's make this neat. I place my folder on the table. Dates. Times. Screenshots. Off-site strategy sessions. A side-by-side with corporate policy. No fireworks. No speeches. Just a clean, steady drip of facts that add up to a single conclusion, he took the company for a fool. They read in silence. Compliance clears her throat. Mr. Mason will need to be present. I shrug. Works for me. He arrives 5 minutes later. Bright smile. Fresh suit. That familiar smugness that doesn't understand the weather has changed. He sees me. Flinches. Why is he here? Regional answers. Because he brought documentation. Derek laughs like this is a misunderstanding. Then he flips the first page. The laugh dies. There's a particular stillness when a man realizes his charm doesn't work anymore. No handshakes. No small talk. No exit ramp. Just gravity. He tries a move. These are personal. This is between consenting adults. Compliance doesn't blink. Using company resources removes the personal apart. HR adds, flat. And scheduling motel meetings during billable hours is fraud. The word lands. Hard. Fraud. He looks at me like I'm the storm. I'm not. I'm the weatherman. I'm just reading what's already on the radar. Regional folds his hands. Mr. Mason, give us your phone and your laptop. Effective immediately, you're on suspension pending investigation. Derek swallows. You can't? We can, compliance says. And we are. He turns to me, grasping for anything. What do you want, man? I keep my voice even. Nothing from you. A beat. Just consequences. Security walks him out. No scene. No shouting. His eyes are wet with a kind of rage that doesn't know where to go. He wants a wall to punch. All he finds is a door that only opens one way. I don't linger. Handshake with regional. Nod to compliance. I leave them with the paper trail. And walk back into the cold with my hands warm. By noon, my phone buzzes. 2 messages. Mark, he's done. Unknown number, you ruined my life. I don't reply. I delete the second message. I never negotiate with people who bet my family against their impulses. At 2, I take Emily for hot chocolate after school. She stirs the foam with her straw. Mom said she's staying at Aunt Lily's for a while. That's right. Are you two done? A slow breath. Yeah. She nods. Quiet. Brave. Okay. Another stir. Can I stay with you this week? You're with me, I say. Always. Her shoulders drop a little. Relief is a sound. You can hear it if you love someone enough. When we get home, I set dinner to simmer. Phone rings. Claire. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listen. Her voice is flat. HR put me on leave. There's a review board. I'm cooperating. A pause. I'll come by tomorrow to get the rest of my things. When Emily's at school. Another pause. Thank you for not destroying me in front of her. Click. I stare at the wall for a moment. Not because I'm conflicted. Because endings deserve silence. Then I turn the burner down and set the table for two. Night falls. The neighborhood settles into the soft hum of weekday routine. I wash the dishes. Mark texts. You ready for the last part? I am. Tuesday morning, I'm at Claire's firm by 8:30. Not inside. Outside. Across the street in a quiet lot where no one bothers anyone. I don't go to HR. I don't need to. I already set that domino. Today is about the other story Claire was selling. The one with the perfect image. The one where she's mentoring young women in the industry, giving talks about values, collecting applause she didn't earn. She has a breakfast panel at 9. Local chamber event. Name badge. Microphone. A room full of peers who like clapping for pretty words. I don't plan to embarrass her. I plan to remove the applause. When the panel ends, people spill into the lobby with coffee and fake smiles. Claire steps aside to take a call. HR, maybe. Sister, maybe. Doesn't matter. I walk up. Not close. Just enough. She sees me. Blanches. What are you doing here? Returning something. I hand her a small, sealed envelope. Different from Saturday's. Lighter. Inside is a single page. My statement. Short. Clean. To the board that booked her. Please remove Claire from all public-facing events while her ethics review is active. There's a copy to the chair. A copy to the director who invited her. And the line that ends the applause. Documentation provided to her employer on 10 a.m., Monday. Her lips part. You sent? They already received it, I say. This one's just for you. Her eyes shine with a panic that's finally honest. What do you want me to do? I keep my voice level. Step back. Tell the truth. Stop pretending this is a misunderstanding. She nods once. A broken kind of nod. Then she turns and walks to the event director with the envelope in her hand. I don't wait for the conversation. I don't need to hear the words. I can tell by the way the director's face tightens, by the way the lanyard comes off Claire's neck, by the way two assistants suddenly remember emails they need to answer somewhere far away. No shouting. No spectacle. Just the sound of a stage closing. At noon, I meet a realtor at the house. Not to sell. Not yet. To assess. Repairs. Paint. Locks. While she talks estimates, I change the Wi-Fi password and the garage code. Practical, not petty. Safety, not spite. At 2, a courier drops a thick envelope on my porch. Claire's signature is on the tab. Inside, a letter from her attorney proposing separation terms, a list of her personal items to pick up, a written apology addressed to Emily. I read the last one twice. It's not an excuse. It's not enough. But it's something I can hand my daughter without shame. At 4, compliance calls. Monotone. Efficient. Thank you for your cooperation. Mr. Mason's termination is effective today. A beat. There may also be a law enforcement component related to falsified mileage and expenses. You won't be involved. We have what we need. I say, understood. We hang up. I go outside and sit on the porch steps. Sun low. Air crisp. Neighbors walking dogs. A delivery truck grinds its way up the street. Life looks normal again. Because it is. Claire texts at 5. I'm coming by for the last box. I'll be quick. Come at 6, I reply. Emily's at study group. Thank you, she writes. She arrives right on time. Hair tied back. Sweater. No ring. She moves through the house like a visitor. Opens a closet. Fills the box with what's left. A scarf. A photo frame turned face down. A sweater I bought in better days. She stops at the kitchen island. Hands on the cool stone. I know you hate me, she says softly. I don't, I answer. Hate is for people I think about. I don't think about you anymore. The words hit her like wind. She doesn't argue. There's no angle left. Just endings. She closes the box and looks at me. Will you ever forgive me? Forgiveness is a door that sometimes opens when nobody's watching. But she doesn't get that door as a guarantee. Not from me. Not today. I'll raise our daughter, I say. I'll be civil. I'll keep your name out of places it doesn't need to be. That's all I can promise. She nods, eyes bright. Okay. She lifts the box. She hesitates. Thank you for not breaking me in front of Emily. I hold her gaze for one steady beat. No one breaks you, Claire. You did that yourself. She leaves without another word. The door clicks shut. The house exhales. 7 p.m. Emily comes home buzzing with teenage energy and small triumphs. She aced her quiz. She wants pasta. She asks if we can watch a movie. We eat at the coffee table like we used to on Fridays when she was little. She laughs at the same parts. She leans her head on my shoulder. The room feels full again. My phone vibrates once more. An unknown number. Voicemail. I listen later, after Emily sleeps. It's Derek. His voice is thin, wrecked. You think this makes you a hero? A shaky breath. You just made 2 lives harder. I let him finish. Then I delete the message. He's wrong. I didn't make anything harder. I made it true. I step out onto the porch. Night air. Quiet street. Somewhere, a TV laughs behind a curtain. I stand there, hands in my pockets, and let the stillness settle. This wasn't victory with fireworks. No cheering crowd. No parade. Just a man who stopped pretending, and made the truth do its work. Claire lost her image. Derek lost his job. The motel lost 2 regulars. And my house got its air back. Tomorrow, I'll call the attorney. I'll finalize the terms. I'll keep the schedule tight, the tone calm, the path clean. No more surprises. No more secrets. Just a straight line from here to done. For tonight, I lock the door, check the windows, and turn off the porch light. I stand in the hallway and look at the photos Emily made in 2nd grade. Cardboard crowns. Painted suns. blue crayon skies that didn't need permission to be bright. I whisper one quiet sentence into the empty room. For us. Then I go upstairs, and sleep like a man who finally knows he didn't lose himself. He just took himself back.